Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for Captain America Iron Man issue 4. And I enjoyed this issue. We learned some more background kind of information for the whole kind of fight that we've got going on that kind of puts it into more perspective and gets us some more information on 51 and what he was doing and what he was doing. So we see that Tony and Steve are pretty much in a compartment and 51's not doing good. They need to get him out, but they know if they leave all together, it'll cloak and they won't be able to deal with the Overseer. So 51 pretty much is able to kind of like give the Hydra suit to Steve so that way he can run around on the ship while Tony goes to get him some help. And Steve, of course, doesn't like that, but he's going to do what he needs to do. And we see that Veronica continues her monologue to pretty much justify her I'm going to kill all the heroes kind of thing. And it still really doesn't work. The Overseer's like, yeah, kind of screw you. You had like a self-destruct thing put into me. Fuck you. Like, honestly, I understand the Overseer has like villainous aims and everything, but I'm with him on like, fuck you, Veronica. And then she laments that she keeps falling for like people who want to like remake Civilization. What's wrong with letting it go about its business, which directly contradicts her idea of killing all the heroes. Because if you would let it go by its business, superheroes are part of that. Steve then drops, not Steve. Tony then drops off 51 with the Paladins. They're trying to be like, "Hey, do you need help?" And they're like, "No, listen, we got this. You kind of help your friend out." Then they start pretty much talking. We have like pretty much scenes of Steve being like, I'm pissed off because I'm in this fucking suit, even though it's making him like invisible. I understand. He doesn't come off as pissy or whiny. It's just like, yeah, I don't like this. As they're both fighting Myrmidons and everything, even though they're just kind of centralized to only fighting them. Like two of them are out and fighting Iron Man, which that's actually a pretty good fight. Him 2-on-1 with it. Let's see. One of the Myrmidons like, hey, God's on our side. And Steve's like, I'm not gonna argue. I'm done arguing with robots. As he, like, takes its ass out. Tony's lamenting the fact that he cannot see this park place and beats one of the heads off of one of them. Steve then pretty much is moving around as the Overseer is like, hey, yeah, you really inspired me. I just gotta assert myself to help people. Because Steve asserted himself and vanquished Hydra Supreme. Hydra Cap, and he's got to do that. I'm like, alright. Tony is then able to talk to Senator Baker, and they pretty much just rehash the whole stuff about like S.H.I.E.L.D. and Hydra, and they're like, yeah, greater good. Let's see. He's a pawn, he's a patsy, he's a victim. And then Steve randomly like opens up the cell that Veronica's in, and is like, hey, you know anything about this bullet? And it's like, no, should I? Perhaps not. And then they don't get back to it until a little bit later. It's just really odd placement for it. I just think it could have been a little bit cleaner to bring up what was going on. But the thing is, they're pretty much setting up a reveal. Let's see. Steve tries to figure out from her if she's got anything that could like take its ass out. And she's like, I did, but I'm going to need you to help me get my suit. Because this, evidently all that amalgamation of stuff from like the Spider-Man villains was going to eventually be her Hydra Supreme suit, and I'm just like, this like whole miniseries has really kind of made me like, she's not a really good villain. I'm like, alright. I don't mind inspiration from certain stuff, but she's just jacking shit from other villains, and they're like, yeah, I'm flying around doing this shit. I'm like, alright, and you annoy my ass. Can you just go away, please? Let's see. And she's talking about like how suiting up and getting in like a suit of armor, doing the shield, knowing what you're doing is right, is addictive. And she's wondering if that is what's going on with Tony. And she gets that because she gets it herself. She's like, I understand we can't be trusted. Trying to bring in this whole stuff of rugged individualism. It's the world is the way it is because we've lost sight of the community we need to be, which is kind of odd because we see her monologuing here in pretty much all of like this villain kind of gear, And I'm like, yeah, but a lot of the teams like the Avengers and everything are brought together because of community and helped other communities as well. I'm like, there's a lot of stuff that could contradict exactly what she's talking about. And she's like, Steve Rogers understands it, but he's not it. He's the opposite, and he can't help that, so he'll have to die too. Like, she says that shit and doesn't, like, quantify. Now, granted, I understand that they're pretty much showing that she crazy as shit. And I'm just like, that makes no sense. But alright. And then we get pretty much to the reveal. Steve's talking about how that bullet is from Pioneer. He had seen pretty much markings throughout the ship that fits up with the Paladins. And 51 wasn't on their side. They pretty much wanted staged hero fights between Hydra and everything. So that way they could have their image and everything shoot up. And then they figured out stuff. Veronica would have told them about what's on board. And they'd reactivate it for... as a manufactured kind of threat, so that way they could beat it. It's like, wow, okay, this team kind of sucks. And then the thing is, the problem got away from them. Shit got real. 51's like, you fuckers. And it's like, oh, they pretty much build it as like a good guy going bad. It's like, goddamn, I really feel for 51 now. I'm like, at first I'm like, whoa, what the fuck was going on with you? And I'm like, oh shit. And they're like, oh god. He must have broken free from like Think Tank's control, and they're like, oh god. Tony's like, he's thinking I fucked up, because they gave him back, and they're pretty much going to make him like kill himself, kind of make it look like he's gonna kill himself. We even see him playing rock paper scissors to see who would probably shoot him or whatnot. It's like, god damn. I understand wanting to help and everything, but they really... There's a lot of asshole points to go around here. Veronica just... She's the definition of an asshole. The Overseer doing his shit, the Senator doing his shit, and then the Paladin. So it will be interesting to see how Steve and Tony gets a handle on this situation, because they got to deal with the Overseer, who's pumping out fucking robots and everything like that. So they're going to have to take down that helicarrier. They're going to have to make sure that Veronica gets locked up, because... I don't want to deal with her. Granted, I don't mind. There could be other kind of interesting stuff, but she is just so heightened in my annoyance factor that I'm just like, I don't mind if she just disappears for a while. Because I was interested to see what she would kind of be, but she is so one note and so up her own ass that I would... God. She pretty much self-defeats herself every time, and I'm like, alright. And the Paladins really need to be kind of taken into check. I mean, that's some bullshit. I understand wanting to help the world and be a hero and everything, but doing this kind of shit just to do fakesies, kind of similar to, like, The Boys kind of shit, I'm like, no, fuck that shit. So it'll be very interesting to see how Steve and Tony handle that shit, and what's going to come out of that. So those are my opinions on the issue. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.